Guys, deluded. YouTube's Lucas Torreira, YouTube's N'Golo Kante. I'm back again. Deluded, it's in the team, man. So yeah, man. Obviously, we all know what to expect of Unai Emery, and I don't mean in the sense that we do not know what he's going to deliver in terms of success, whether that be trophies, back in the top four, implementation of tactics, and the rest of that. What I mean by that is we know he's going to come with that Spanish tenacity. He didn't make no promises when he joined the club. He just promised to work hard and try and pattern up the team, and we see where it goes. And so far, I don't being Arsenal, you can't really be too optimistic. You can't be too pessimistic. I know typically both of our fans fall into either side of the extremes, but for me, anyways, I know if I look at it on one hand, there's a lot to be optimistic about. I mean, until the season starts, maybe that gets thrown out the window. But whether I believe in these players that have signed, excluding Torreira or not, and Gudezi, they've come into the club on the basis of we needed to fix the spine. It seems to be adjusted. Unai Emery looks to be implementing a clear way of playing, high intensity, defensively and offensively. All of these sort of things feel good. We've got away from the whole, we all know Arsenal have had some negative headlines for whatever, and it's been a circus. And excluding Ramsey and a couple others, it's never going to be perfect, but excluding Ramsey, we haven't really seen any contract nonsense. So we've just been purely left to focus on pre-season, at least for the fans and things like that. So there's a lot to be optimistic about and to go in with a clean slate. If I look at the other hand of the imagination, on the other hand, yeah, we fixed the spine, but a couple of these players are underwhelming. Socrates and Vidra, if he does arrive, he'll get my full backing, but there's got to be question marks over that. And in regards to how much money is available, the targets, is Unai Emery being shortchanged with the targets and things like that? Glazides, will he stay? Won't he go? Obviously, I don't really personally. I want him to leave. I don't really care if he stays or goes. Credit to for doing the good things he has so far, but. If he goes, it descends into a bit of chaos, because what has Unai Emery got to be thinking? You're the man that interviewed me, that kind of, I had to sell you the project to make me manager, but you're the one who kind of confirmed it, and now you're off. Stan Kroenke's now got 100% of the shares now. Again, it was always his regime, but now we know what's going to happen with the club now, in the sense that we're probably a cup team at best. So yeah, and I'll touch on that. Well, we've always been a cup team at best for recent years, but I'll touch on that in another vid. But in regards to what to expect, I'm doing this on a basis that if it was to be this time next year or May next year, what am I going to be happy or unhappy about what you have or haven't done or whatever? Firstly, it's got to be the top four. For me, it's top four or bust, or Unai Emery. I don't think it should be a case of if he loses top four, he should lose his job necessarily. But by that same logic, if we don't get top four, I do honestly believe you have to consider firing him. Why I wouldn't fire him in the event that if he didn't get top four is in the basis that, say we came fifth or even sixth or whatever, and we just missed out because of how competitive it is. But there's a clear way of playing. Our record versus the top six has improved. Our record versus in away games has improved. We're turning up in big games. We're getting consistency from players. Players are keeping their space in the side when they've played well. Underwhelming players are taken out of the side when they're not playing well. Obviously, we don't need to get into the micros of that. I'm not saying drop players after one bad game and keep them in after one good game. These sort of things there is what I would like to see. If there's a clear way of playing, we've adapted to the high intensity, maybe that would allow him to keep his job, because then you would be able to see some sort of progression and some sort of trajectory into the next year or so, because I think he would have... By next year, he would have a year left on his contract. I believe he signed a 2-year deal with an option of a third. So yeah, there's that in it. But for me, obviously, you got to get top four. Like top four, you love it. I don't think we're gonna get top four because I don't think we have it in us. Not that I don't think we have the ability. I just think something's missing in terms of probably galvanization, which is probably what I ironically want to see from Unai Emery, which is pre-season. So obviously it's feel good. Everything's nice. Everything's new. Everything's innovative for these players, and quite rightly so. I want to see that all kept, but. For me, it will really tell if these players are buying into what he's saying when we play these big games, when football is being played in December periods. These men have a life when they want to be at Christmas with their family, when games are coming thick and fast, when we're at away games where we're not able to play that little Arsenal football of nice passes, where people are roughing us up, where the fans are on top of us. We have no chance of winning them sort of games, but somehow we manage to. Winning games we're not supposed to win, not losing when we deserve to lose, drawing when we didn't deserve anything out of a point. It's these sort of pulling backs from the dark, and these sort of things that go beyond technical ability of any player is for what I need to see, to really see if these guys are buying into what Unai Emery and co are saying, because that's the measure. The sun is shining, literally the sun is shining right now at Arsenal. That's cool. I want to see when it's games where we need to stand up to be counted. That's when you see the true matter of men or whatever. Like I always give you guys the example where army men in the trenches. It doesn't matter if you're the corporal or you're just the water boy or whatever position they call it. Anyone, if you're on a battlefield and you're in this, it doesn't matter what role in the team. If one member of that team does something they're not supposed to do, that can compromise the army's position and someone can lose their life. Obviously, it's not as dramatic as that because it's football, but in terms of losing 3 points and top 4 in Champions League, which we've been dying for, even though we don't do anything in the Champions League, you can see the importance in it. So I'm gonna judge him on. That. I'm gonna judge him on tactics as well. You're a tinker man, a master tactician. So I want to see you. I'm not calling for you to change formations and them things there every game, but I want to see a clear way of playing in big games. I want to see us both play our strengths. I don't always thinking you should tailor your approach to the opponent, but by that same logic, we've typically, doesn't matter what game, what opponent, we're going with the same way. So I want to see a bit of tailoring the tactics to our opponents. How we should play against City and Liverpool are 2 different ways, even though there's similarities with them, for example. So I want to see him. I want to see how he navigates positionally and tactically. Obviously, I want to see him improve players as well. Obviously, 50% is on the players, but you want to see players improve. I want to see a clear system, especially defensively, a real art and craving for these boys. If I see that, then it's cool. I want to see these boys crave defending, crave clean sheets as much as they crave them little goals where we score, where 100 people have touched it and things like that. The perfect Arsenal Wenger ball goal. So I need to see that. Socrates and Vida, if he does come, I must admit, I'm not going to... They didn't assign themselves. Just because I didn't want them doesn't mean I'm just going to get at them. But for Unai Emery, if they fail to deliver or whatever, I'm going to get at you. Because when we were saying experienced and commanding centre-halves, by logic, they are that. They weren't the targets us Arsenal fans probably would have looked at, but they are that. So if they fail to deliver, it's on them, of course, but it's on you for signing what could be classed as underwhelming targets. So I want to see that. The inspiration, like I said, defence, that's the centre-half thing, is the biggest one for me. Obviously, I want to see what he does with the centre-half thing. I actually would love to... I'm not going to really... It won't tip it for me, but because of the way we are now, I would love him to get to a Europa League final, and I'd love to regain the FA Cup. Carling is Carling, but at the end of the day, it's a cup competition, and we got to the final last year, so I'd love to see us do that again. Anyone who says they don't want to win anything at this moment in time that's up for grabs is chatting nonsense, in my opinion. So, yeah, man. Obviously, in regards to, I don't know how we're going to utilise the wide flanks because of how he's seemed to set up. Obviously, he's played 4-3-3 at times, but how he seemed to set up looks like a thing where it's going to be more compact, a bit different, and there's going to be expansive play, and there's going to be runs in that, but it still looks a bit similar but different, if you get what I'm saying. By that logic, I'm going to get onto him. He has 2 options. I need to see these fullbacks improve offensively. They always get forward, but I need to see better crossing and assisting. If we're not going to provide the width in midfield or midfield, or up front, the wingers have to do it. So I want to see that. And if it's not a winger, if you're not going to rely on the fullbacks, I want to see what you do with the wingers that are left in the squad. Emerald Smith clearly is now a central midfield-ish 10 sort of player of sorts, but he's played on the flanks. Nelson's probably our most direct winger here. Obviously Mkhitaryan can play out there, you can force those out there, but hardly any of these, excluding Nelson, are probably, that's their natural position. So I'm going to get at him. Jeffrey Adley's future is in the midfield, but he could play out wide. He was let go. Wells and Perez, they both need to be sold realistically, but if both go and no one comes in and we're struggling, we can still see another case for a winger, which we have seen for the last 2 years, then obviously I have to attribute the blame to Unai Emery, if you can call it that. So these are the sort of things I want to see, to be honest with you. In the short meat, for me, people, approaching big games, approach away from home, and a real habit of defending, and I want to see some fight. Some real fight. Everybody uses this term fight. Arsenal players can fight, but the problem is they can't fight consistently. They can't fight when their back's against the wall. I'm not going to be naive and say a new manager means them 10-2s and them embarrassing aggregate defeats is a thing of the past. But I would like to see them minimised. So, yeah, man, these are just a couple things I felt to say that obviously I need to see from Unai Emery next year. This year. I believe in him, to be fair with you. Calcedo, regardless of if Unai Emery is a success or not, I want him to stay, but he'll probably depart and leave with his right-hand man. Hopefully it doesn't go that way. But yeah, man, it's top 4 or bust to a degree, of course. But yeah, man, this is the sort of things I would like to see from Unai Emery and the boys. Obviously, the players is a different one, but I'm focusing purely on the manager in this vid. So yeah, guys, deluded, get in the comments, subscribe and do the rest. Thank you for having me. I'm out. All my descriptions to all my socials are in the... Well, all my socials are in the description, better yet. Apart from Snapchat, deluded... No, it's not deluded Guna. DGuna04. So yeah, man. And deluded Guna04 and everything else from Facebook to Twitter to Instagram. Anyways, guys, deluded. Like, subscribe. Best YouTubers out of here.